Hey everyone, welcome back to the Learning Lab. I am so happy you are here with us again because today's episode is honestly one of my favorite topics ever, and also one of the most dangerous topics for me personally, because apparently I cry during movies about dogs, old people, and even animated vegetables now, which is honestly becoming a problem, Jenny.
Wait, hold on. Animated vegetables? Jame, what kind of movies are you watching at 2 in the morning instead of sleeping like a normal human being?
Okay, listen, no judging here, because the carrot had a dream, all right? The carrot wanted to become a chef, and everyone laughed at him, and somehow I became emotional.
I cannot believe this podcast started with a crying carrot story, but honestly, that is kind of perfect for today because we are talking about emotions and how to talk about them in English naturally without sounding like a robot from an old science fiction movie.
Exactly, because a lot of English learners know basic words like happy or sad, but then in real conversations, people say things like, I'm stressed out, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm excited, I'm nervous, or I'm kind of emotional today. And suddenly, your brain just leaves your body.
Oh, wow, yes. And then you just smile awkwardly and say, yes, me too, even when the person just said they failed their driving test and broke up with their boyfriend at the same time.
Oh no, that reminds me of something terrible I did once. My friend told me she was really upset because she lost her wallet, and I accidentally said, congratulations.
Jame!
I know. My brain was tired, okay? I wanted to say that's unfortunate, but my mouth decided to destroy my social life instead.
Honestly, this is why learning emotions in English is important because emotions are everywhere. People talk about feelings at work, at school, in relationships, while traveling, during family dinners, while eating spicy food that destroys your soul.
That sounds personal.
It is personal. Cambodian spicy noodles attacked me last week and I became emotional in many ways.
Physically emotional.
Spiritually emotional too.
All right, so today we are going to help everyone sound more natural when talking about emotions in English, and we promise this episode will be fun, slightly chaotic, and hopefully less emotional than my carrot movie.
No promises, honestly.
Okay, so let's start simple. The easiest thing people say is, I feel. And honestly, this structure is super useful because you can use it with almost any emotion. You can say, I feel happy, I feel nervous, I feel tired, or I feel excited.
Yes, and I feel nervous is something I say before every episode because I always think I'm going to forget English completely on camera and suddenly start speaking in random sounds like a confused bird.
Honestly, same. Sometimes right before recording, my brain becomes empty like a refrigerator at the end of the month.
That is such a real image. But okay, one important thing is that native speakers often add small words to make emotions sound softer or more natural. For example, instead of saying, I am angry, people often say, I'm kind of angry, or I'm a little upset.
Exactly, because if you say, I am angry, people might think you are about to throw a chair through a window.
Yeah, and maybe don't do that during English class.
Please don't. Another really common word is stressed. Oh, wow. Everybody uses this word. Students are stressed, teachers are stressed, parents are stressed. Cats probably feel stressed too.
My cat definitely feels stress every time I sing in the kitchen. He looks at me like, sir, this concert is terrible.
For a cat. But yeah, if you have too much work or too many problems, you can say, I'm stressed out. Notice the out, because native speakers say that a lot.
Right, and another useful expression is I'm overwhelmed. This means you have too many emotions, responsibilities, or things happening at once.
Oh, wow, yes. Like last month when I had work, homework, family events, laundry, and my phone stopped working at the same time. I literally sat on the floor eating crackers and staring at the wall.
Honestly, that sentence is the definition of adulthood.
Exactly. And I remember texting Jame, I'm feeling overwhelmed today.
Yeah, and I answered with emotional support and also memes because sometimes memes are medicine.
Very true. Another great word is excited. English learners already know this word, but sometimes people misuse it, like they say, I'm exciting.
Oh, yes, this mistake is super common. Excited describes your feeling. Exciting describes the thing. So you say, I'm excited about the trip, but the trip is exciting.
Exactly. If you say, I'm exciting, it sounds like you are advertising yourself like a new amusement park ride.
Come visit Jame. He is exciting.
Tickets available now.
Buy one, get one free.
Absolutely not.
Okay, so let's talk about stronger emotions because sometimes sad is too simple, right? Like there are different levels of sadness.
Right. Sometimes you're just a little sad because your favorite cafe ran out of iced coffee, which honestly feels illegal.
Completely illegal.
But sometimes you feel heartbroken, which is a much stronger word.
Yes, heartbroken is usually used for deep emotional pain, especially after losing someone or ending a relationship. Like, she was heartbroken after the breakup.
And another useful word is disappointed. This one is softer than heartbroken. Maybe you expected something good, but it did not happen.
Like when you order food online because the picture looks amazing and then the burger arrives looking like it lost a fight.
Jenny, why is that so accurate?
Because it happened yesterday. I opened the box and literally whispered, "I'm disappointed."
Not the whisper of sadness.
It was a dramatic moment.
Okay, another supernatural phrase is, I'm proud of you. English speakers use this a lot to support people emotionally.
Yes, like if your friend studies hard, starts a new job, speaks English bravely, or survives Monday morning, you can say, "I'm proud of you."
Honestly, if you're listening to this podcast and practicing English, we're proud of you.
Oh, that was actually sweet.
I can be sweet sometimes.
Rarely, but yes.
All right, now let's do a little role play, because role plays are fun and also slightly embarrassing, which is the perfect combination for learning English.
Okay, so in this scene, James forgot my birthday.
Wait, why am I always the bad guy in these role plays?
Because you have chaotic energy.
Fair enough.
James, can I ask you something honestly? I'm feeling kind of upset right now because yesterday was my birthday and you didn't message me at all.
Oh, no, Jenny, wait. I am so sorry. I completely forgot the date because my brain has been stressed out all week, but that is not a good excuse.
I mean, I understand you were busy, but I was honestly a little disappointed because we talk almost every day.
You are right, and now I feel terrible. I feel like the worst friend in the world. Please allow me to buy you noodles, coffee, dessert, and maybe a small island.
Okay, the dessert helps emotionally.
Exactly. Emotional support cake.
Honestly, I'm not angry anymore. I was just hurt for a moment because birthdays are important to me.
I understand, and I promise next year I will remember your birthday before my own birthday.
All right, apology accepted.
Okay, that was actually fun.
Honestly, the emotional support cake part felt very realistic.
Food heals many things.
So in that role play, we used phrases like, "I'm feeling upset," "I was disappointed," "I feel terrible," and "I was hurt."
Right, and notice how natural the conversation sounded, because emotions are usually explained with stories and reasons, not just single words.
Exactly. Real people often explain emotions. They say things like, "I'm nervous because I have an interview tomorrow," or "I'm excited about my trip."
Yes, context is important.
Okay, now let's talk about common mistakes, because honestly, these mistakes are funny sometimes.
Very funny.
One mistake learners make is saying, "I am very boring."
Oh, yes. If you say, I am boring, it means other people get sleepy around you.
Which honestly is possible for some people, but maybe not what you mean.
Usually, people mean, I am bored.
Exactly. Bored is your feeling. Boring describes the thing causing the feeling.
Another funny mistake is translating directly from your first language. Some learners say things like, my heart is pain.
Which sounds poetic, actually.
It does sound like song lyrics.
But in natural English, people usually say, "My heart hurts," or "I'm heartbroken."
Right. And another funny mistake is when learners use crazy too much, like, I'm crazy happy, I'm crazy sad, I'm crazy hungry.
Wait, I actually say crazy hungry.
Okay, honestly, native speakers say that sometimes too.
Thank you. I felt attacked for a second.
But you should be careful because crazy can sound too strong in some situations.
Yeah, and sometimes simple is better. You can just say, "I'm really happy," or "I'm super nervous."
Exactly. Simple English can still sound natural and expressive.
You know what I realized, James? Talking about emotions in another language is actually kind of scary sometimes, because emotions are personal.
That is so true. Sometimes people know grammar perfectly, but they still feel shy saying emotional things like, I miss you, or I'm proud of you.
Oh, wow, yes. I remember the first time I told an English-speaking friend, I appreciate you. I practiced it in my head like 50 times.
Same. Emotional vocabulary feels more powerful because it connects people.
Exactly. And honestly, that is why learning English is not only about grammar or vocabulary, it's about communication and connection too.
Wow. Jenny, that sounded inspirational.
Thank you. I drank coffee 30 minutes ago and now I have wisdom.
Caffeinated wisdom. All right, everybody. We are sadly reaching the end of today's episode, but this was honestly such a fun conversation.
Yes, today we talked about how to describe emotions naturally in English, how to use phrases like I'm stressed out, I'm overwhelmed, I'm excited, and I'm disappointed.
And we also laughed at Jame for crying over vegetables.
Never,
Please stop bringing back the carrot story.
never.
Before the next episode, we want to give you a little challenge. Try describing your emotions in English at least once every day. Even simple sentences are great. You can say, I'm tired today, I'm excited for the weekend, or I feel nervous about my exam.
Yes, and if you want, leave a comment under the video and tell us one emotion you felt this week and why. We seriously love reading your comments because you are all so funny and supportive.
And of course, if you enjoyed hanging out with us today, do not forget to like, subscribe, and share the Learning Lab with your friends, your classmates, your cousins, your neighbor's dog.
Okay, maybe not the dog.
The dog deserves education too.
Honestly, fair enough.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Take care of yourselves, keep practicing English little by little, and remember,
You do not need perfect English to make real connections.
we will see you in the next episode of the Learning Lab.
Bye, everyone.
Stay curious and stay kind.